Every age has its illusions, and ours may be the illusion of control. We have grown up believing that everything is available if only we push hard enough. Success through relentless effort, happiness through consumption, love through persistence, respect through assertion. Beneath the surface of modern culture lies the assumption that if we are not constantly striving, we are somehow failing. Yet this narrative has left millions weary, disoriented, and resentful. People work tirelessly yet feel perpetually inadequate. They manipulate circumstances yet still encounter disappointment. They exhaust themselves not because they lack power, but because they attempt to exercise power in domains where it does not exist. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, writing nearly 2,000 years ago, observed this same error in the Roman Empire. His counsel was not to give up ambition, but to redirect it. His wisdom was that the greatest force is not control but alignment, the ability to live in harmony with nature's flow rather than in futile resistance. This is the essence of Stoicism: energy conserved for what belongs to us, release of what does not, and serenity in the difference. To flow with life is not weakness, it is the deepest strength. The nature of allowing is often misunderstood as passivity, a kind of lazy resignation. But Stoic allowing is very different. It is an act of discipline, the disciplined choice to act where one's influence is real and to refrain where it is not. Marcus Aurelius reflected daily on this principle. His meditations are full of reminders to himself. Do not be disturbed by what lies outside your control. Focus instead on the purity of your actions, the honesty of your speech, the steadiness of your soul. This was not the voice of a man who abandoned responsibility. He was emperor of Rome, but of one who understood that forced control over circumstances breeds only anxiety. Allowing means acting without clinging to outcome. It means planting seeds without demanding immediate harvest, speaking truth without manipulating reception, working diligently without chaining self-worth to results. It is a form of spiritual economy, energy used only where it bears fruit. In daily life, I have noticed this distinction most clearly in creative work. When I attempt to force inspiration, words come brittle, mechanical, and joyless. But when I wait for clarity, when I prepare steadily and open myself to flow, writing emerges almost effortlessly, as if carried on a current. Allowing does not mean waiting idly. It means working faithfully while trusting timing. Resistance as the mirror of attachment. Why do we resist life so fiercely? The answer, in both Stoic and psychological terms, is attachment. We cling to images of who we think we must be, what others must give us, how events must unfold. When reality refuses these demands, we resist. This resistance is exhausting. It is like swimming against a powerful current. We move, but we do not progress. We tire, yet remain in the same place. Marcus Aurelius warned that such resistance is folly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Attachment disguises itself as ambition, but its root is fear. Fear of insignificance, of loss, of rejection, of death. To counteract these fears, we grasp at control. We push people to behave as we wish. We chase recognition to prove our worth. We demand certainty from an uncertain world. But what happens when attachment loosens? Life becomes lighter. Relationships breathe. Work becomes play. Freedom arises not from getting everything we want, but from ceasing to demand that everything conform to our desire. A personal example comes to mind. Early in my career, I pursued recognition with desperation. Every project, every conversation was measured against the yardstick of validation. If praise came, I was elated. If silence followed, I was crushed. It took years to recognize that my worth was not at stake in those outcomes. The attachment itself, my insistence that recognition was necessary, was the prison. When I released it, I found energy and joy returned. Detachment is not indifference. It is love without chains, ambition without desperation, engagement without enslavement. It is the space in which authentic action arises. Patience as the hidden power. In the modern imagination, patience is weakness. The fast dominate, the slow are left behind. Opportunities, we are told, vanish if not seized instantly. Entire industries thrive on this urgency. Social media, marketing, finance, all convincing us that waiting is failure. But to the Stoics, patience was strength itself. It was proof that the mind was not ruled by fear. Seneca described anger as the failure of patience, and Marcus Aurelius noted that all things come according to nature's timing, not our demand. Patience is not laziness, it is mastery of tempo. It is the ability to hold still when fear whispers hurry. It is the discipline to prepare, observe, and act only when the moment is ripe. History vindicates this view. Great leaders and thinkers often attribute their success not to rushing but to waiting for alignment. A general who attacks too soon loses the battle. A farmer who harvests too early ruins the crop. Likewise, a person who forces decisions in haste often reaps regret. Personally, I find patience most transformative in conflict. My instinct is to respond immediately, to defend myself, to assert my view. Yet when I hold silence, when I wait until emotions cool, the outcome is always wiser. Patience grants perspective. It prevents the escalation that urgency provokes. In a culture addicted to speed, patience is countercultural. It is a quiet revolution against the tyranny of urgency. Living with open hands. One of the most vivid images of Stoic living is that of open hands. A clenched fist represents fear, fear of losing, fear of scarcity, fear of change. The tighter we grip, the more fragile we become. Open hands, by contrast, embody trust. They are willing to receive and willing to release. They recognize that possession is temporary, that control is partial, that love cannot be compelled. This openness transforms relationships. When we cling to people, demanding that they stay, obey, or satisfy, we suffocate them. But when we hold them with openness, we invite genuine connection. Love becomes an offering, not a bargain. Respect becomes natural, not coerced. It also transforms work. A clenched approach breeds micromanagement, suspicion, and burnout. An open-handed leader trusts the team, invites collaboration, and inspires creativity. Employees flourish not under the weight of control, but under the space of trust. In personal development, openness allows us to adapt. Plans shift, goals evolve, paths change. The one who insists on rigid control suffers endlessly. The one with open hands adjusts gracefully. As Heraclitus observed long before Marcus Aurelius, the only constant is change. To deny this is to deny life itself. In my own practice, I have seen open-handedness in writing and teaching. When I try to force an audience to react as I desire, I become anxious and controlling. When I release the demand, focusing only on the integrity of my work, I find freedom. People respond or not, but my peace no longer depends on it. Open hands are the posture of true strength. Accepting the seasons of life. Every human life unfolds in rhythms. There are seasons of rapid growth and seasons of apparent stillness, seasons of joy and seasons of grief, seasons of visibility and seasons of obscurity. Yet in our age, we have grown hostile to these rhythms. We want summer without winter, harvest without sowing, bloom without dormancy. We measure ourselves not against nature's cycles, but against the relentless calendar of productivity. This hostility breeds despair. A person who demands perpetual achievement feels anxious when progress slows. A person who expects constant pleasure despairs when pain arises. A person who insists on control resents every unexpected turn. In all these cases, the error lies not in reality, but in our expectations. The Stoics invite us to see differently. For Marcus Aurelius, the universe was a living organism composed of cycles larger than our comprehension. To rebel against these cycles was folly. To harmonize with them was wisdom. Time is like a river, he wrote. The events which happen are its flowing waters. No sooner has one been seen than it is carried away and another follows, and this too will be carried away. When we embrace life's seasons, we discover that so-called stagnation often conceals growth. A tree in winter looks barren, but its roots are deepening. A person in silence appears idle, but their soul may be strengthening. What looks like failure in one season becomes the foundation of success in another. In my own life, I recall a period when projects faltered and recognition seemed distant. It felt like regression. Yet, during that time, I learned resilience, refined my craft, and discovered new priorities. In hindsight, that barren season was essential. Without it, later progress would have lacked depth. To accept seasons requires humility. The humility to admit that life is larger than our schedules, that growth does not obey our urgency, and that meaning often appears in retrospect. It is to trust that both bloom and barrenness serve a purpose. The courage to rest. One practical application of this principle is rest. In a society that glorifies hustle, rest is often vilified as laziness. Yet the Stoics recognized rest as essential to virtue. A fatigued mind cannot judge wisely, an exhausted body cannot serve well. Rest is not indulgence but preparation. The soldier who sleeps preserves strength for battle. The thinker who pauses gains clarity. The leader who retreats temporarily prevents rash decisions. Rest honors the rhythm of energy, acknowledging that we are not machines but living beings woven into cycles of exertion and renewal. This insight has radical implications for our lives. To rest without guilt is to reclaim humanity. It is to reject the illusion that worth depends on ceaseless output. It is to remember that silence is fertile, that leisure can cultivate wisdom, and that stillness often reveals truths hidden by noise. Trusting the process. At the heart of Stoic wisdom lies the principle of trusting the process. Life, Marcus Aurelius insisted, is governed by logos, reason, order, a divine intelligence shaping events. While we cannot see the full pattern, we can trust that each thread contributes to the whole. This trust does not excuse passivity. The Stoics were men and women of immense action, philosophers who taught, generals who fought, emperors who governed, but they acted with detachment from outcome, surrendering results to nature's course. Trusting the process means directing energy toward what we can control, our choices, our responses, our character. It means releasing obsession with what lies beyond, other people's opinions, external success, fortune's turns. By conserving energy in this way, we gain power where it matters most. In practical terms, this translates into questions such as, am I acting from wisdom or fear? Am I aligning with reality or resisting it? Am I gripping too tightly or allowing flow? These questions reorient us in moments of confusion. They remind us that the path of virtue, not the outcome, is our true domain. Modern challenges to trust. Modern culture resists this idea. We are told that everything can be hacked, optimized, accelerated. We are sold systems that promise control over success, love, and even happiness. To trust the process sounds naive in a world where algorithms predict behavior and data dictates decisions. Yet beneath this facade of control, uncertainty remains. Economies collapse, relationships shift, health falters, opportunities vanish. No strategy eliminates fragility. And when fragility strikes, those who have not learned to trust are crushed by despair. Here lies the enduring relevance of Stoicism. It reminds us that uncertainty is not an enemy, but a condition of existence. Trust is not denial of uncertainty, but courage within it. To say, I trust the process is not to expect comfort, but to choose composure in discomfort, the river metaphor. Perhaps the most enduring metaphor of this philosophy is the river. Life is a river, vast and unstoppable. We can exhaust ourselves thrashing against its current, insisting that it flow where we wish. Or we can learn to navigate, adjusting sails, building vessels, conserving energy for steering rather than resisting. To flow with life is not to drift aimlessly, it is to steer skillfully while respecting the current's power. The sailor who ignores wind and tide is reckless. The one who works with them travels far. This metaphor captures the essence of Stoic trust: active engagement without futile resistance, direction without domination, freedom within limits, integrating Stoic flow into modern life. How then can we embody this wisdom today? Begin each day with perspective. Marcus Aurelius began mornings by reminding himself of what lay ahead: difficulties, opposition, mortality. This practice guards against surprise and resentment. By accepting the day's realities in advance, we flow with them rather than resist. Pause before reacting. When confronted with difficulty, take a breath. Ask, is this within my control? If yes, act with clarity. If not, release. This habit conserves energy and prevents wasted struggle. Honor seasons. Recognize when life calls for action and when it calls for patience. Resist the cultural demand for constant productivity. Accept that rest and stillness are not failures but fertile phases. Hold relationships with openness. Love without clinging, support without demanding. Respect the freedom of others. Flowing with life includes flowing with people, allowing them their paths. Measure success by integrity, not outcomes. Outcomes fluctuate. Integrity endures. Ask not, did I win, but did I act with virtue? This is success no circumstance can take away. Conclusion: flow as strength, not surrender to. Flow with life is to stand in paradox, strong yet yielding, active yet patient, directed yet open. It is to refuse the exhaustion of forcing, to conserve energy for what matters, and to align ambition with nature's rhythm. Marcus Aurelius, burdened with the weight of empire, still reminded himself daily to release resistance. If even an emperor recognized the futility of force, how much more should we, with our smaller domains, learn to let go? The world will not obey our will, but it will cooperate with our alignment. Seasons will turn, rivers will flow, time will carry events forward whether we resist or not. Our task is not to dominate these forces, but to harmonize with them. As I reflect on this, I find that my most peaceful moments have come not from conquest, but from consent, not from forcing, but from flowing. The serenity of Stoicism lies here, in discovering that life's current, once trusted, carries us farther than force ever could. So let us live with open hands. Let us honor patience, accept seasons, and trust the process. Let us remember that true strength is not the ability to control, but the wisdom to align. For in the end, it is not the one who resists the river who thrives, but the one who learns to flow.